I went and then we found my tumor. And then subsequent scans showed that it was in my liver at that point. And so, I was stage 4 from my very first mammogram at 38. That really became devastating because I started calculating the kids' ages. I was like, okay, gosh, if the 5-year survival is 22%, like if I make it 5 years, how old are the kids? Then I would search things like, well, what at that age, what is a child's memory capability? Like, will they remember me? It's what everyone's afraid of when you're diagnosed with cancer. It's dying from it. When you're faced with mortality like that, it is a heavy load to carry. So that's really when our lives changed, and I started viewing life very differently.
Welcome to the Inheritance of Hope podcast. Every day, 562 children lose a parent to terminal illness. They shouldn't have to face that alone. You can pretend to avoid the painful realities of illness, grief, and death, or you can deal with the real stuff in caring community. On the podcast, people in Inheritance of Hope's community share raw, personal stories of pain, trials, and the shadow of death, which are also stories of joy in terminal illness. Find more Inheritance of Hope community at inheritanceofhope.org. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Inheritance of Hope podcast. I'm Ellie, and I'm your host again today, and I'm excited to have a good conversation with someone who has just a really beautiful story and a lot of things worth sharing. So I'm so excited to give her the microphone and let her inspire us and share her story. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jacquelyn Veranikar, and my husband Kevin and I and our 4 kids live just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I have stage 4 breast cancer.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I also am in the general Twin Cities area, so I'm sure we're fairly close, but we are doing this call over video call, which is not as fun, but definitely more accessible.
Yeah, so easy, especially with the 4 kids I mentioned.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
Yeah, so Cooper is 15. He'll be getting his license this fall, which is going to save me so much driving time. But I will miss that quiet time with just the 2 of us. And then Parker's 13. Drew is 10. And then our daughter Peyton is 7.
Yeah, that's quite the spread. Lots of different life things happening.
So much. It's, we're in every phase of everything all the time.
I mean, that in and of itself is probably a lot, but then add something like metastatic breast cancer to the mix, that probably really complicates things.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, we've settled in now, but when I was diagnosed, especially, I mean, that will be 5 years now. So 10-year-old, 8-year-old, do the quick math for me, but I mean, they were much littler and had different needs then. Yeah. So it definitely complicated things.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us how illness has been a part of your journey and what has that looked like for your family structure?
Yeah, gosh, it feels so normal now. But I mean, because like I said, we've settled into this. But I mean, even just thinking back to when it was so fresh for us, I would drive home as fast as I could from chemotherapy because I did not want to miss carpool pickup for the kids because I wanted to keep things so normal. We relied so much on, and still do out of necessity, but community, our family and friends to pick up where, the slack of all the places that were extra complicated when I was in the trenches of treatment and surgeries. The kids, I like to tell this story because it really, you think that the kids are going about their regular daily lives and they're not impacted as much as you think. But when I was going through chemotherapy and didn't have hair, our oldest is a hockey player. A couple of other of the kids are too, but he likes to grow his hair out and have hockey hair. And one night he kind of disappeared and we didn't think much of it, thought he was in the other room playing and he had gone in the bathroom and shaved his head too. So he came out with, yeah. So, so I'm sure that they are different people than they would have been had this not happened to our family. And I think about our daughter in particular, because she's 7 now. And so she was, 2-ish. And this is really all she'll know of me is having cancer. Yeah. So it definitely has built, yeah, different, very empathetic children. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, shaving your head because your mom is losing her hair is definitely a
Yeah.
move of empathy.
Man. Yeah. Really good. Really great kiddos.
Yeah, what was it like first receiving that diagnosis? And were there any signs that something was off, or was it just really out of the blue?
It was incredibly out of the blue. So it was 2020. So like a global pandemic was
Mm.
really just, we were just starting that because this was early in 2020. But I went for my annual exam, maybe just because I wanted to get out of the house because I was homeschooling all the kids and distance learning. But I made sure that I went to that appointment. And it included a breast exam. And, top to bottom, everything was fine. All my tests came back normal. And I was really healthy. My mom had died of stomach cancer um, in 2006, so 14 years prior to that. And so after my mom's death, I had done genetic counseling and I had done a panel of genetic testing. And I had stopped drinking Diet Coke and I was eating kale chips and running a lot. Like I was really on top of my health. And that's probably why I went for that annual exam, despite, the inconvenience of the pandemic. And so I think it was intuition that brought me in. I'd like to think maybe my mom had a hand in,
Mm.
that woman's intuition of like, hey, something's going on. So yeah, after that appointment, I shared my unease with my doctor. And she's like, well, let's just put your mind at rest and I'll order some extra tests. And I was 38, so insurance wouldn't cover mammogram unless I had a referral. So she referred me for an early mammogram. And yeah, I went and then we found my tumor. And I still couldn't feel it even after I knew it was there. I had a really hard time locating it. And then subsequent scans showed that it was in my liver at that point. And so, yeah, I was stage 4 from my very first mammogram at 38. And I remember, see, it's complicated because we thought I was stage 2 and I went through chemotherapy. And then one of my scans showed that spot on my liver and it looked benign. So we thought it was just a benign tumor. And then I opted to have it removed though. And after that liver resection, the pathology showed that it was breast cancer that was in my liver. And so when I was going through treatment thinking that there was an end. Like I would be done. I would go through a hard year of treatment and then I would be deemed cured.
Mm.
And then when that pathology came back, and I realized I was stage 4, like that's when I felt like um, the rug got ripped out from under, like a sucker punch, because I thought I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that it was incurable. I didn't know the survival great stats around that. Yeah, and so that really became devastating because I started calculating the kids' ages. I was like,
Mm.
okay, gosh, if the 5-year survival is 22%, like in 5 years, if I make it 5 years, how old are the kids? Then I would search things like, well, what at that age, what is a child's memory capability? Like, will they
Oh.
remember me? Yeah, so that that's also when I let go of some of my pride and was like, I probably should be on an anti-anxiety prescription because man, when you're faced with mortality like that, it is a heavy load to carry. So that's really when our lives changed, and I started viewing life very differently. And I will say, because of my mom's death, I had already switched my mindset and like just valued relationships and how we spend our time. Like that shifted for me. So I'd had a greater appreciation since that experience. But this was, having my own children and being told that you have a disease like this, yeah, it was like earth shattering. It
Mhm.
took a long time for me to get my feet back underneath me. And it's such a paradox because I would function Like everything was fine. Cancer patients do that. Like you go about your day to day because what else are you going to do? But then you have that you're carrying the reality of it with you all the time. And yeah, it just totally shifted everything.
Yeah, no kidding. Not only, I think I hear this often of you hear the word cancer, you receive a diagnosis. Not only does your entire world shift and flip on its head, but you also are just in this huge unknown world of like, what does that word mean? What does this side effect actually mean? What is this medicine? And so it's this whole, like, you really have to just educate yourself so much. And there's so much you have to dive into just to feel like you have a grasp on what is happening in your body and in your world.
Yep.
Is that something that you and, your whole family had to go through as well?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I think that um the media, Hollywood paints a picture of what cancer is. And I had walked through cancer like with my mom. So I had seen that. And so I knew what it looked like. But I think in my experience, in breast cancer in particular, I think that there has been created an idea that perhaps it is not a hard cancer,
Mm.
that we lose our hair, we have surgeries, and then we get to go on. And I don't think that we are doing anyone any favors. We need to be able to hold hope and reality in the same hand because there is so much hope. And, breast cancer treatment does provide us with a lot of opportunities to be cured. But the reality is, we are still dying from this disease. And I don't think women know risk factors or enough information about screening. And I say this as someone who thought I knew. I thought that I knew about breast cancer because it is, we have a whole month
Mm.
that talks about it. But I thought that older women got breast cancer. And I thought that if you had a gene mutation, I thought that was primarily who got breast cancer. Um, and I thought that I was doing all the right things. So yeah, relearning all of that and also that it wasn't my fault. Like I had done all the right things and I still couldn't avoid getting cancer. So that was interesting. And still, I mean, someone now that I spend my time educating about this and advocating for women's health because I was a typical lucky dance mom living my life and I thought that I knew and turns out I didn't. So I think the odds are most women don't know these things that I have learned. And for the kids, I don't know. I mean, we've become friends with families who have lost parents, moms to this disease. So they have a different understanding too of what this is.
Yeah. For just a quick side note, I guess, if someone is listening to this and they have a general understanding of breast cancer and they, see the ads, they see the commercials about like getting screened, but they don't know what like stage 4 or metastatic breast cancer
Yeah.
is. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So metastatic breast cancer is cancer that originates in the breast and then it travels through your lymph system or your blood and then metastasizes or starts growing in another part. And mine was my liver, but the other common areas are lung, brain, bones. I feel like I'm missing one, but and then as soon as it leaves that original tumor, it is stage 4 and it is incurable. Like I said, the 5-year survival is 22%. Also, women diagnosed stage 0 to 3 are early stage breast cancer. And, again, holding hope and reality, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
women who ring the bell and are deemed cured, the risk of recurrence is upwards of 30%. And then recurrence is when it comes back. And that's usually stage 4 then too. And metastatic breast cancer is, um, yeah, I don't want to say the real deal, but like that's what everyone's afraid of when you're diagnosed with cancer. It's dying from it. It's just something I didn't know either. When a couple months, we thought I was stage 2. I was so scared of dying.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you didn't die from breast cancer if it stayed in the breast. I mean, I didn't even think about it. I just thought cancer is deadly. and it is. But yeah, stage 4 is when you no longer can be cured.
Yeah.
Not
And
yet.
yeah, right. Hope and reality in the same
Yes,
whole
yep,
hand, but like there's hope in progression and
yes,
in finding a cure always.
yes.
Yeah, and actually, I was a facilitator in one of our online support groups for a while. So I was in the metastatic breast cancer group. And I
Yeah.
love those women. They're some of my favorite people. And just,
Uh,
it was so special to step in and like hear people's stories week after week. And one unique thing I think that I was hearing about MBC is that there is a sense of longevity for some
mhm.
people where you get this terminal diagnosis where it's like there's no cure, this will end sometime. But there were women in that group that had it for like 5, 10 years. And that's, yeah, like you said, all their kids knew. And that's their life. It's chemo, it's these appointments. And so it's an interesting flip on like, a terminal illness where someone who gets this a diagnosis, a different diagnosis, and is told you have a year to live is very different than like you have this and you could have this for 10 years. But, there's this uncertainty and like this long suffering of like
Yes,
going through it.
long suffering. Yeah, and I think that that is just highlighted in we get a scan every 3 or 4 months, and that scan will tell us. So I go at the end of, you know, in a couple weeks here, and yeah, I'll go, and when those results pop up, I'll scan to the bottom real quick and see
Mm-hmm.
what it says. Because if my drug isn't working, I have to switch. And then that comes with, "Hey, what are the side effects of that?" I've already, like, mastered the one
Mm-hmm.
that I'm on. So that, the unknowns of, "Okay, what is that gonna look like? And where has it spread? And what does that mean in terms of my health and how I'm going to feel?" And then when you start the new drug, then you scan again. Okay, if that's not working, like, start another one. Yeah, so it is, always waiting for when is it going to?
Mm-hmm.
When? How long is it? And I wanna point out, people will say, "But any of us could get hit by a bus tomorrow." Like, I understand the sentiment, but my response now has been, "Yeah, but if we're both standing on this highway and see a bus coming, I can't jump out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to watch it just, come towards me." And yeah, you can still jump. And so, yeah, it's long suffering is great. It's like such a perfect way of saying that.
Yeah, I love that analogy too. I feel like it captures the sentiment of what I hear so often of like what you said of like, yeah, there's a bus coming and I'm watching it come and
Mhm.
I can't get out of the way. It's like, how do I spend my time while the bus is still
Yes.
away? Yeah.
Yep, it's always I always think about it,
Hmm.
and not in a paralyzing way. Like, I don't doesn't prevent me from doing things, but I always, yeah, I'm thinking about it all the time because, well, I take medication twice a day, and my body doesn't work the way that it used to. Yeah, so it is, yeah, it's a constant.
Yeah, in light of that, like that analogy of like, okay, the bus is coming. How has that pivoted the way that you live your life and especially how you parent? Like you're a mom of
Mhm.
4. How has that changed things knowing like,
Yeah.
okay, I have this diagnosis and I have these kids here still?
Yeah. I like, this is a perfect example. I like to go to bed early because 'cause I'm tired at the end of the day, right? But, like, last night, our oldest got out a deck of Uno cards, and he's like, "Hey, who wants to do 1 round of Uno?" I guarantee you, if I was, like, living a normal life, I'd have been like, "You guys, like, I'll do it tomorrow." But no, I mean, like, sat down, played several rounds of Uno with everyone, and it was, yeah, just so important. 'Cause it isn't always the case. I mean, we still live such a busy life, so I can't always, um, like, laser focus on making everything special. I just can't, it's not realistic, but I'm seeing the opportunities when I can, or if, like, like over the summer, if everyone is home, and I'll say, "Hey, I wouldn't run to Target quick. Does anyone want to come with?" And if I can get the chance to just bring one of them with, like making that time special where, yeah, we grabbed the thing we needed, but hey, do you want to look around? Do you want to, grab a drink or something? I'll grab a Starbucks. And yeah, so yeah, making like small pockets of time special
Mm,
because I'm hoping that I hope they remember that.
I love that. It's just, it feels so intentional in the simple moments that I think a lot of us would just overlook because it's like, okay, well, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. So I'm not going to play Uno. But I feel like you have this beautiful perspective and
Yeah.
intentionality of like, no, I'm staying up because this Uno game is like sacred and it's special and
Yeah.
I want to step into it.
And I so badly want to hate. I do hate cancer, but it also had given us so many beautiful gifts. And so that's not from cancer, right? It's what we have chosen to make out of this. But yeah, it's because of it. I want to say I realize how fortunate I am that I don't look sick. I don't really feel sick. So I can do this. So many women who can't because they feel so sick and the treatment is so debilitating. So I also like survivor's guilt or whatever, feeling normal. I want to, yeah, be conscious that I've lost so many girlfriends to this disease and they don't get to do this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting phrase that you just brought up too, because I heard that very frequently in the metastatic breast cancer Hope at Home group, where women would be like, "It drives me crazy when people are like, oh, but you don't look sick." Tell me,
Yeah.
do you get that, and do you have a
Yeah.
response to it?
Yeah. I don't look sick, which is so great. But it's like I want people to know how important this is, like how big of a deal this is. So, because I don't look sick and I want this to be important and I want people to want to change this, I'm very vocal about because that I compensate by talking about it all the time because and that's not for everyone. I understand that not everyone wants to share their story. They want it to be private, but I am loud about this because I'm making this an opportunity to change the future of breast cancer. I honestly, that is what I am doing with all of this. I don't look sick. I am so able bodied right now. I want to like seize the opportunity to change the future and to save women's lives. And that sounds like cheesy and like impossible, but I know that it's not. I know that it will take all of us to fund research so we can actually cure this. And so I don't look sick. And I think that that grabs people's attention. And yeah, I am just spending all of my time doing this because, yeah, I don't look sick. And I am so fortunate for that. Yeah.
And I know you have a lot of things that you do and are working on. You've taken this story that you were
Hmm.
given, whether you wanted it or not, and turned it into like this beautiful passion.
Hmm.
So yeah, you have the microphone. Tell us what you're doing.
Okay. So after we figured out what was really going on with me, yeah, I did a deep dive on really learning about the cancer. And, outside of being terminal, the most disheartening part was when I learned that this is the only type of breast cancer we die from, and it gets the least amount of research funding. Like 3% of all breast cancer research funding is done for the only deadly kind. And I just couldn't I could not watch my friends die from this and not do something about that. And like I said, it seems impossible, but I was like, if I do nothing, I'm not doing any good.
Mm.
So I founded a nonprofit, Cure, and I give all that credit to my friend Nicole for the name. I was hesitant to use my own name in it, but this is my story, and this is what so it makes sense. And we raise money for metastatic breast cancer research, and we educate and bring awareness to it, and then we support the women living with it. We have care packages that we give to women going through chemotherapy or breast cancer surgery. And yeah, we filmed a documentary. All the funds for that are going to research, and the research is happening right here in Minnesota at the University of Minnesota. Really hopeful, promising, groundbreaking research. And it's expensive to do. I
Mm.
mean, by the end of the year, we hope to have raised $5 million so we can move this research that is proven to cure colon cancer. And now they want to show that they can prove that they can cure metastatic breast cancer. And so we need the fund that will move it into the next phase of research. And $5 million seems like a lot, but there's a lot of deep pockets. And so I am out there searching for them and taking opportunities like speaking with you and, selling our merch. And we have our little Branicure heart that we
Oh,
put on
I love that.
everything. And I always joke, I'll sell anything. Like, what do you want? What do you want me to put my heart on? I'll sell anything if it's going to raise money. And we've funded work that is going to save lives, and it doesn't come without hardship. I mean, like I said, my friend Lindsay and Jody, actually Jody and I live near each other, but met through Inheritance of Hope. We went on our trip to Orlando with our families, and Jody passed away this spring. And I mean, I could list so many, Kelsey, Heather, like everyone. Every time I lose someone, my goal gets bigger
Mm-hmm.
because we have not cured breast cancer, and estimated 115 women die every day from this disease. And I mean, look at me. I'm so fortunate. And so every single day, all day, I mean, I care for my children too. But this is what I'm doing. Like, this has become my life's work. I'm a wife and mother, and I am determined to see a future where we are no longer dying from this.
Yeah. It feels so appropriate to then have your name attached
Yeah.
to this project because, yeah, like you said, it's your life's work. And the more
Yeah.
people you lose from it, like the more it propels you forward and just
Mhm.
makes it like, this is important. This is still around. And I think that's really beautiful because it's not only like your legacy, but then I feel like you're just adding names to the list of like, it's for Jody's legacy. It's for all these other
Yes.
people's legacies.
Yeah, because their life is important, and they deserved longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and their kids deserved to
Their
have their parents.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where, like at Inheritance of Hope, this is a very specific group that we serve. It's not just like, oh, anyone has cancer. It's really targeted towards those young families where it's like,
Yeah.
man, you're just kind of like starting your life and you're dreaming of like who your kids are going to grow up to be. You're dreaming of like what trip you're going to take and seeing them walk down the aisle. And then when you're diagnosed with something like this, yeah, like you said, the rug just gets ripped out from underneath you and you don't know if
Mhm.
you're going to be around for that. And
Yeah.
that feels really messed up. Like you have a visceral response when you hear stories like that.
Yep.
And so that's why we need organizations like yours and like Inheritance of Hope because it's so important. And a lot of times, like Inheritance of Hope is completely donor funded as well.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, how do you just get the word out? And so I
Yeah.
hope through this podcast, like people hear this and are compelled and like resonate with it because they know
Yeah.
someone whose story is like Jody's or like yours. And,
Yeah.
and I'll be getting any like links and things you want to add in our show notes so that people can find.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Be
So,
wonderful.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually will be, like I said, Jody and I and our families went on the Inheritance of Hope trip, and then we stayed connected, and because we have kiddos that are the same age, and whenever I see, her kids or my friend Lindsay's kids or my friend Kelsey's children, like, I always give them an extra squeeze,
Mhm.
thinking, of course, they have wonderful support groups in their community and their dads. But, I always think, this one, give me an extra hug because your mom can't. And
Mhm.
it's heartbreaking. I don't do it anymore because it was too hard. But I started journals for the kids
Mhm.
when I first was diagnosed to hopefully like keep those memories of, me with them alive. And it was just too hard. So then, I've been focusing on just building those memories instead of writing them down, just trying to build memories with them instead.
Yeah. And like you said, I think that would be so evident of like, I think it's going to be so easily remembered of like, oh yeah, mom would always stay up Or like take us to Target, or she would do the Uno games with us, which is almost more valuable than like seeing it written
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
hope so.
yeah, I oversee our legacy video program, which is obviously about
Uh,
legacy. And I always say, like, yes, of course, everyone should take that step and like record these videos and leave something tangible for your families. But I think before you do anything like that, just take a look at your life. Like, if I always say, once we're gone, we don't ever get to dictate how people remember us.
yeah.
So why don't you start living the way that you want to be remembered? And
Yeah,
then
it's
see
so
if there's
important.
a discrepancy of like, I
Mm,
want to be remembered as like kind and someone who always went on my way. It's like, okay, but are you being kind? And are you going out of your
yes.
way right now? Because right now is when it's inconvenient, you know? So I love that perspective of like doing the things now, even if it means
Mm-hmm.
a lack of sleep, even if it's like
Yeah.
not necessary, quote unquote, it is what's going to be remembered. And that's
Yeah.
the legacy you're like leaving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Which reminds me, I do need to make my own legacy
Yeah,
video. I need to do that. I can't tell you how many people I send your way to do that, and I haven't done my own yet. So
that's
that's a
funny.
great reminder because I think it's such a special gift that you can leave.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is, like, it doesn't, I always say, you don't have to capture your entire legacy. Like, that's going to be impossible to do, whether the video is 5 minutes or 5 hours. It's how you live your life. And then when you show up to the video, I think the biggest thing is to have people's voice captured and their
Yeah.
mannerisms, their quirks. I actually helped my dad record his legacy video, and he has a tendency to be like, long story short, and then tell the longest
Yes.
story ever. And as he was
Yes.
doing that during his legacy video, I'm like, I'm so glad this is on
Mm,
video because I will always remember that. But having like a video of him saying that is so special. So it's
yeah.
less about like, how do I portray everything I ever wanted other people to know? It's like, no, just show up and make like a 15-minute video of you just telling a couple stories, and that's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, I will also include the link in the show notes to make a legacy video. That's a great plug. They're free. A coach walks you through it, so it is not as intimidating as it sounds.
Yeah.
What if you could leave behind your voice, your laugh, your love, all in your own words? Inheritance of Hope Legacy Video Service gives you a priceless opportunity to share what matters most with your loved ones. With a legacy video coach handling all the logistics online, you create a lasting treasure for your family, one that's edited, securely backed up, and easy to share. It's completely free thanks to generous donors. Start your legacy video today at inheritancefhope.org.
But yeah, I would love to hear more about the legacy retreat you went on and some of the
Mhm.
things that were meaningful for you on that trip.
Yeah, because I want to point out too, because I when I was diagnosed, I heard about Inheritance of Hope, and then I went and I added our family's name to the list because I was like, this sounds wonderful. And then maybe I forget 2 years, our name came up, and because it was COVID during
Mm.
that time, so things were behind. And then I got a call and they said, we'd love to gift your family with a trip, and I said, but I feel so good. Wouldn't someone else take this trip? And they said, this is when you should go.
Mm.
When you are feeling good and can enjoy it, go and make those memories. And so I was like, yeah, you're right. So I surprised the kids on Valentine's Day. I wrapped up some like summery things because, in Minnesota in February, it's not summery. And so they opened their Valentine's and they're like, why is there sunscreen and goggles and sunglasses? And I said, we're going to Disney. And I mean, it's such a great video.
Mm.
And they were just thrilled. And then I remember when we walked up, they already knew who we were. Like they knew the kids by name. They're like, Veronica family. And I was like, how? Yeah, I mean, they seen our pictures, but they knew the kids by name right away. The kids felt like they were like the big brothers and big sister. All during that weekend, they still talk about them. And so when you show up, and then you see all these other families. And at first I was like, especially my husband, because he's much more private than I am. And he's like, I don't know, I'm going to be uncomfortable. We're going to be talking about all of this. And
Yeah.
then, I don't know, the kids are going to go off and talk with the other kids. And I didn't want to be sad. It was like the opposite. It was like we were with friends and family, and it was a reunion.
Mm.
And that is saying a lot because like I said, my husband's very private. And so he felt so comfortable. The kids, I mean, they were younger at the time and I wasn't sure how they would, handle it. And it was like they made new best friends. They went in the breakout groups with the other kids and it was never, oh, mom, can I stay with you? It was like, bye, don't come back. We're having so much fun. Um, and then I won't give away any of the special surprises along the way, but you just treated like you are so incredibly special. The detail that goes into that weekend is just remarkable. We like to talk about how the kids, everyone gets a wheelchair when you go to Disney, just in case, you need one. And the kids were like, oh, it's going to get in the way. We don't need it. And then the fights that ensued. I'm riding in the wheelchair. No, I'm riding in the. So, I mean, and then zipping to the front of the line of all of the attractions. And then when the parents get to go to dinner on their own and kids have movie night or spend extra time at Universal, it was, I mean, we've stayed in touch with some of those families, and we have lost several of those women that I became friends with, have passed since then. But I mean, to have had the opportunity um, and to have walked through that with them. And I remember sitting in the circle when all the parents and, the moms and the dads were sitting in a circle and everyone's sharing about their diagnosis. I mean, I don't want to, it was sad, but it was like comforting to be with a group like that understands what it's like to watch your spouse live with this. And then as a caregiver, feeling helpless a lot. And so you felt so seen. And it was comforting. It wasn't sad. It was comforting for the kids, for my husband and I. And then we had the time of our life,
Mm.
running around and going on the roller coasters and eating fun food. And it's incredible. And I talk about whenever I'm like, hey, if someone's newly diagnosed, hey, you know what you need to do? You need to get your name on the list.
Yes.
In fact, I've had a girlfriend who, from my experience, she has signed up to be a volunteer with Inheritance of Hope because she's like, what a gift to
Yeah.
be able to be with a family and for them to share this with you. Such a sacred experience of, living, closely with death
Mm-hmm.
and letting people in on that with you is, it's incredible. We are so thankful for that
Mm.
experience. Special gift that, you get at the end, we look at it often. So
Mm.
it's, the whole thing is, just so cool.
That was a great articulation and summary of kind of that whole experience. And what's interesting is how you described, and honestly, it's not that long. Like you're there for only a few days.
Yeah.
And you like get to know people like that, and the friendships are just so easy and natural.
Mm.
But even how you described, like there's some hard conversations there. It's not all like, okay, let's just completely forget about this. It's like, no, how do you walk through this like fully embodied and integrated of like, this is a reality and we also can have fun. Like those two
Yeah.
things can coexist. And we talk about that all the time at Inheritance of Hope. Like there can be joy in suffering and joy in trials. Like it's not one or the other. And I feel like your description of that experience for your family was a perfect example of that. Of like, yeah, you can like go scream on roller coasters and make new friends and like still be in touch with what's actually happening in your world. And it doesn't have to be a war between them. It can be like all holding hands at the same time.
Yeah. And to be with a group that understands that is Yeah, it's incredible.
I would love to hear, what is a lesson that you've learned along the way that you don't think you probably would have unless you were diagnosed with this cancer?
Yeah, a deep breath because like I said earlier, I don't want to give cancer any credit for anything good. But I have gained just focus on what's important. Like the house is, the house can be a mess and we're grabbing dinner in a drive-through and we're home late from a sporting event, but we're all there eating our fast food together. Um, yeah, kids might get in bed late and, I might call the school the next morning and be like, hey, I'm letting Drew sleep in a little bit this morning because we were up late, like just being more relaxed.
Mm,
And I know, again, like sometimes you can't, like sometimes you got to just charge on ahead and get things done. But seeing that you don't always have to. And the things I thought I had to
mm,
do, like things can wait and I can be more relaxed and we don't need to rush out the door. It'll be okay if we're 5 minutes late. Just really taking a deep breath and not rushing through life. Yeah. Seeing
mm,
even so my daughter had dance auditions this week, and she signed up for the bare minimum. She's doing two dances, not doing any extras, because I don't want to give up Friday nights. I know there are some, that would be one requirement. And I think that prior, I would have been like, oh, we're all in. We're going to do every dance. We're going to do all the extras. And now I'm like, she's 7,
mm,
and we're going to do the two dances, and she's having fun. And that's what we're going to focus on instead of, instead of just putting 100% into things that don't matter in the long run,
mm.
when I'd rather be at home doing some other things.
I love that advice. And it feels so applicable no matter the season of life you're in, no matter your health background. Like, that's something that you
Yeah.
probably had to learn the hard way. So hopefully anyone listening to this, like, just take this advice and learn it the easy way and implement it
Yeah.
now.
There are just things that, yeah, they don't matter as much as we put emphasis on.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I think we have time for this because I always end with a certain question. But before that, I'm curious how this illness has impacted your sense of identity.
Mhm. Yeah. Let me tell you, it's been very humbling, like truly, because I think as a woman, as much as maybe we don't want to be vain, and it's maybe not even vanity, but I loved my long hair and I had my long hair back. But when I lost my hair and my eyelashes and my eyebrows, and then I have surgeries, I have scars everywhere. And yeah, I've definitely let go of some of that. I clung a lot to physical appearance. And at the 38, I was postmenopausal. And yeah, I am aging much more rapidly than I would be. But still, like as a woman, as anyone, but we want to look and feel our best. So a balance of not having my self-worth be in my physical appearance, but also wanting to look and feel good. Yeah, I have let go of how much I have clung to like how I look, and
Hmm.
it's become more about how I spend my time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like this would be a great episode for anyone to listen to if you're walking through the road of MBC, just to hopefully feel a little less alone because I feel like everything you
Yeah.
shared is kind of universal. Like it could be
Hmm.
applicable to a lot of things, but especially for the woman who's feeling like I'm about to lose my hair. And I know
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to worry about what I look like, but I do. So I guess what would you say to a woman who's like just entering or is in the stages of NBC, whether it's like first diagnosed or in that like long suffering stage?
Yeah. Um, I think that an incredible support group is important. I mean, it doesn't need to be a ton of people, but if you have someone who you can um that can help lift you up when you're feeling lousy, there's an online community that is thriving. There are so many women who will hold your hand. While it might be across the country, there is an incredible community that will that is here for you and that has experienced, I can guarantee, everything that you will experience. And so you don't feel alone because it is so isolating. And as much as it is hard to really understand unless you're living it. So find your people or your person that can really help you because it is really hard.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be Inheritance of Hope at Home groups, but I will say being a part of the MBC group for over a year, it was just like getting to witness like how sacred it was for women. Some of them were like having scan anxiety, and some of them just got an amazing scan back, or some of them were like in the pits, and some of them were like, I feel great. And to have that all coexist and everyone to be like, yep, I've been there. I maybe not there at this moment, but like there's space for all of it.
Man.
Like you said, that community of other people who get it is just so valuable.
It really is.
Facing terminal illness is difficult enough, but you don't have to go through it alone. Whether you're at home, in a hospital bed, or on the road, join us. We are a community of people that get it. Find the connection, support, and hope you deserve. Because when you don't know where to turn, you can always find hope at home. So don't waste another second. Sign up today. Hope is waiting for you at inheritanceofhope.org.
I hope if you're listening to this and you are navigating metastatic breast cancer that you find encouragement in this. And I want to end with our last question of whose legacy has impacted you, whether in their life or their death. Who do you still carry with you?
Yeah. I'm going to say my mom because, it's been 19 years and the further out it gets, certain things you forget that have happened. I will never forget the way she made me feel. And I remember coming home from college one day and I only lived half an hour from home, but I think I surprised her or something, and she saw me pull in the driveway, and she, like, ran to the door and grabbed me by the shoulders, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you're here." And I probably had talked to her already that day, and I probably had seen her not that long before that, but she made me feel so loved. And so, yeah, that legacy of love, and I hope that I also make people feel that way.
I love that. There's nothing better than just being greeted in that way, but like if that's
Yes.
someone's posture to you for your whole lifetime, that definitely sticks with us. Well, thank you so much. I feel like this had so many good just wisdom nuggets in here, and your story is just so inspiring, and how you kind of carry the torch of your own legacy, but all of the women that you love and have lost to this horrible disease. You are doing really good work, and I really hope people are encouraged by everything you shared today.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me.